Hey, back at you with another video here for the NBA main slate here on Thursday. So we only got 3 games today, so pretty small slate. So I'm definitely gonna keep it lighter. Probably only GPPs for me. Real quick, let's see how we did last night. So last night, not gonna lie, I probably switched my lineup around like 10 times. It was crazy with all the news, and so my final lineup was Harden, Jonathan Simmons, Jonathan Isaac, Anthony Davis, Cody Zeller, Crawford, Larry Nance, and Montrez. So, I was really hoping that Chris Paul would play because I didn't really want to play Harden. And I was really I had a great lineup set for the mid range. I had Vucevic, I had Nurkic. I just had a bunch of those, mid 8K to 6 to 8K guys that I really liked. Drew Holiday. I had a really confident lineup, but once CP3 got rolled out, I was too scared to fade Harden. And Anthony Davis, I couldn't fade him against Washington. I was just too scared he was going to have a ceiling game. He didn't do terrible. 58, it's not bad. Harden, it was actually a blowout. He got pulled with 7 minutes left, so he probably would have put up close to 100 fantasy points. And Simmons and Isaac, those were the chalk value plays. Nance, he was very chalky as well. And the frustrating thing is here was the whole Devin Booker news. So, Devin Booker gets, I don't know what time it was exactly, but they tweeted out Devin Booker doubtful to play. So, I take that news, I'm like, oh man, that's huge. And they had TJ Warren questionable too. So, I was like, they dropped Isaiah Cannon. So, Phoenix has no guards. I was like, Jamal Crawford in a revenge game, he's going to have to play 30 plus minutes. So I locked in Jamal Crawford. Switch my lineup around, put in Jamal Crawford. And then at 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the Phoenix game was the last game of the night, 10 to 15 minutes before the game started, they said Devin Booker was going to play. And I was basically out of options. There's no one else. I couldn't pivot my lineup around. So I was basically screwed. I was set with Jamal Crawford. And yeah, he with Isaiah Cannon out, he actually got limited. He was seeing about 25 or so minutes, and he got limited to 16 minutes. Had his worst game in a revenge game. It's just super frustrating with the information. And then Montrezl Harrell, kind of the same thing. Once Boban got announced starting, it was tough because Boban playing, it kind of hurts Gortat, or it hurts Montrez. Gortat's not really an option, and they just limit him. But Boban's actually a very good fantasy player, and I knew if Boban had played well, it would kind of limit Montrez, which it did. I mean, he did only see 29 minutes. He usually sees 32 to 35. So yeah, overall, I cashed in most of my double ups. A few I didn't hit. And then I made a late night lineup and that didn't cash. So, that was kind of a mistake. I basically broke even, but then lost in the late night lineup. So, yeah, again, it's kind of frustrating with all this news. The misinformation about Devin Booker really hurt me. So, yeah, that's how my night went. Okay, so let's look into this 3-game slate. I'm just going to go game by game here. So we got Golden State at Toronto here as our first game. And, I'm going to be honest, there's not a whole lot I'm liking from this game. If Steph and Draymond were in, this game would probably be a little more exciting and more, appealing from a fantasy standpoint. But Golden State, with no Steph, has been playing at the third slowest pace. And you got Toronto, also a very solid defensive team that plays pretty slow. So, I'm honestly, since I'm only playing GPPs, I'm very much considering just completely fading this first game and just targeting the last 2 games. Last 2 games are much more appealing to me than this game. But if I was going to play players in this game, you got Durant 11K. You can't argue what he's been doing. He's been playing out of his mind here. He has had some pretty good matchup here against the Kings and the Magic. So this is a lot tougher matchup here against Toronto. Kawhi Leonard, one of the best defenders in the league. So yeah, I think, Durant, I think he'll be somewhat popular just because, he's been going off. But, I just don't know if I can do it today. I honestly think there's a possibility that Toronto blows out Golden State. Golden State has not really looked good with no Steph and no Draymond, so I think there's definitely a possibility that Toronto blows them out. So you got Kawhi at 9-3. I think he is going to be very popular today. I do like the salary for him, and if this game stays close, he's going to see 35 plus minutes, and he's just a little too cheap in my opinion. So if I was targeting this game, I think Kawhi would be my first option. I think he's going to be pretty popular today. Then you got Kyle Lowry at 8K. I think he'll be somewhat low owned. I think the flocks will resort to Kawhi Leonard, and Kyle Lowry will be pretty low owned. So if you want to play that aspect of the low ownership, I think Kyle Lowry would be somewhat low owned here. Klay Thompson 7-4. He's shooting the ball a ton, and he's been paying off his salary basically. It's just hard for me to pay 7-4 for Klay Thompson. I know he is a different player this year with no Steph and no Draymond, but I honestly think I'm just fading this game. But if you want to play, it's a 3-game slate, so if you want to play Klay in tournaments, I certainly don't mind it. Let's see, Siakam. More I would just be interested in if I get on him when like Kawhi Leonard's out. With Kawhi Leonard in, I just 6K is not bad, but I think you can do better. Like 5.5 for Ibaka. This is definitely more of an Ibaka game, so I do think he's going to see 30 or so minutes. So I do like this play a lot. Serge Ibaka 5.5. I think it'll be pretty popular as well, but for good reason. Valanciunas again. I don't think it's going to be a Valanciunas game. I think he's going to get limited to 15 or so minutes, so I don't really think he's an option. Quinn Cook at 4.8. I think he's definitely in play. I like the salary a lot. The matchup's not the best, but he should see 30 minutes or so. So 4.8K, I think he's certainly in play. You got guys like Fred VanVleet off the bench. He had a very good game against Memphis. 4.6K is okay, but I think you can do better than that. And then you got the value Golden State guys, which I'm just not touching today. It's your guess is as good as mine as who's going to have a good game. Jerebko, Looney, Jordan Bell, Damian Jones, and Iguodala. It's kind of a mess situation, so I'm going to be looking elsewhere today. Okay, let's go into the Indiana and the Lakers game. So we got LeBron at 10-7, and to be honest, I think LeBron is going to be very low owned today. I think the flocks, the masses of people are going to go to Kawhi Leonard, possibly Durant. And then, go with, more cheaper guys in the Clippers and the Suns game. Or in the Clippers, Kings, sorry. So, I think LeBron is going to be very low owned today. People are going to be scared about the Pacers defense. But I don't mind taking a shot on him. And especially if he's going to be low owned on a 3-game slate. I'm definitely considering LeBron here at 10-7. Oladipo, it says he's questionable. He's doubtful. I don't think he's going to play today. If Oladipo does play magically, then I definitely have interest in him at 8.8K against the Lakers for sure, but I really think he's going to be out. So my boy Sabonis, 7.5K. He has got a pretty good price bump here. But look what this guy does. In 23 minutes against Phoenix, 48 fantasy points, 21 points, 16 boards, 3 assists, and a steal in 23 minutes. He got pulled with like 4 or 5 minutes left and did not come back in the fourth. A little surprising because, he was going off. I thought they would just close with him. So, the price has gotten up there where you definitely had to consider it now. I still do think he has upside, especially against the Lakers. And I'm leaning towards probably playing him again, to be honest, because this guy has just been crazy for me. He's been making me a lot of money. But the one thing that concerns me with Sabonis is the good play of Miles Turner. He was kind of an afterthought at the beginning of the season. He wasn't doing much. But, last 5 games or so, Miles Turner's really stepped it up. And that concerns me, if I want to play Sabonis, just because Turner's been playing really well. And, they do run Sabonis Turner lineups out there a little bit, but not too much. So, it does concern me that Miles Turner is playing well. And Miles Turner himself, I think, is a pretty good option here. Again, I like targeting bigs against the Lakers. So Sabonis and Turner, definitely on my list of players that I'm interested in. Lonzo Ball, that was frustrating. I had him against Denver. He got injured, did not return. He said he's questionable. If Lonzo gets ruled out, that boosts the appeal of LeBron James. It also boosts the appeal of Ingram. And then it would boost, some of these value guys like Stevenson, KCP, Josh Hart. So we're going to have to kind of wait and see with Lonzo news. If Lonzo plays, I'm probably not going to touch him. I'll just be too concerned about, him rolling his ankle again. So yeah, you got Ingram at 5.8K. I would have interest in him if Lonzo's out. He would probably run the backup point a lot. Interested in Ingram if Lonzo's out. Kuzma, 5.6. I think he's pretty safe. He's gonna get you probably 20 to 30 fantasy points. I'm probably not gonna be going that way though. Bogdanovich at 5.3, a little pricey. He's kind of scoring dependent. So again, I think I can do better. McGee at 5K. I was on this guy a lot early in the season, but they're just kind of limiting him. They're playing Tyson Chandler a good amount of minutes. 5K is appealing, but I don't know if I can do it. Tyreek, this guy he's costing me, big time here. I don't know what his deal's been. He was amazing for Memphis, and I think just my bias of, he made me a lot of money last year. I played him all the time, and he was great. He's playing at 50 fantasy points, almost every game last year for Memphis. Not every game, but, he had that, upside. And with no Oladipo, he's just been so frustrating. I think this was with Oladipo. He put up 44 fantasy points, but he's just not been good. And I'm kind of done with him. The matchup is great, and I do think he'll be somewhat low owned. I guess I can consider him, but I really don't think I can do it. He's costing me a lot. Collison, I think he's going to be the chalk today. 4.7K. The matchup against the Lakers is very good, and the game stays close. Again, he should push for 30 minutes. So I do really like Collison. I think he'll be pretty chalky though. Thad Young, 4.5K. I'm not going there. I can do better, in my opinion, for GPPs. Corey Joseph, 4.4. I think it'll be somewhat low owned. I think everyone's gonna be on Collison, and maybe some people will take a shot on Tyreek. Corey Joseph quietly has been pretty good here, and he should see 25 to 30 minutes or so. So 4.4K, I don't mind that. And then you got the value guys here for the Lakers with Stevenson, with Hart, with KCP. KCP has just been terrible here. I don't think I can target him. Josh Hart as well, he hasn't been good. It's going to be interesting to see if Lonzo's out, who picks up the start. I'll probably have the most interest in that guy. My guess would be Josh Hart, but I don't know. And then Stevenson, he's been productive on a permanent basis, but he's just not seeing enough minutes. I would probably have interest in him if Lonzo's out, just because I think his minutes go up to 20, maybe 25 or so. So I think Stevenson will be my favorite value guy if Lonzo Ball's out. All right, let's move on to the last game, and this is the game, definitely the game of the night here for a fantasy perspective. The Clippers and the Kings, 235 over under with only a 2-point spread. So definitely this game you want to target heavily. And, it's definitely stackable too, because no one is more than 8.2K. So you could play basically everyone from this game and have a pretty solid lineup in my opinion. So you got Tobias at 8.2K. I really I bet on him a lot. The salary's about right, but the matchup is ideal here, and his minutes are secure, which I really like. So, I think Tobias is firmly in play here at 8.2K. My other board, Montrezl Harrell. Again, the thing that concerns me is if Boban starts again. Boban is he's a different center than Gortat. Doc Rivers leaves him in there a little longer. So it definitely limits Montrezl Harrell, because he's basically going to play backup 5 to Boban. Willie Cauley-Stein is a pretty athletic, fast big, so I don't know if Boban can stay with him for too long. So, that's just one thing to note. I still really like Montrezl Harrell. I'll probably play him again, to be honest. But it does concern me, though, with Boban being in the lineup. De'Aaron Fox is 7.2. I think he's still a little underpriced. If the game stays close, he's going to see all the minutes he can handle. He's going to see 35 plus minutes. So, I think he'll be pretty low owned at 7.2, but I think he's definitely in play. Gallinari, he finally had a breakout game. He was basically just kind of had a floor of or a ceiling of 35. He finally put up a 55-point fantasy game against Phoenix. If you want to chase it, I don't mind. I think I'll be going elsewhere, though, than Gallinari. Cauley Stein at 5.9. I do really like the salary for him. The issue was, he's kind of been getting into foul trouble, and Marvin Bagley's been playing pretty well. So I'm kind of undecided what I want to do with Cauley Stein. He definitely has upside in this matchup. But the emergence of Marvin Bagley, as well as even Harry Giles, who played really well last game, does concern me for Cauley Stein. Buddy Hield at 5.7. He kind of had an off game against Utah, but I really like the salary for him. His minutes seem to be locked in, floor of 30, upside of 35 minutes. And he definitely has, 40 plus fantasy point upside. 5.7K, I really like Buddy Hield today. Lou Williams, it's tough. I love playing Lou Williams, but, with all these guys healthy, with Avery Bradley back in the lineup, for some reason Doc Rivers is playing Avery Bradley 30 minutes a night. I don't get it. And that's limiting Lou Williams to, 17 and then 22 the last couple of games. So I really want to play him in this matchup, but he's just getting limited, so I don't think I can do it. Marvin Bagley at 5.3, definitely considering him. He's turned it on these last few games, and his minutes are creeping up there at 26, 37, 34, 30, after being kind of limited earlier on. He's been playing pretty good here. So 5.3K, I think that's just too cheap for Marvin Bagley. And I'm definitely considering him. Bogdanovich, 5.2. Again, I think that's still a little under cheap for him. He did see 34 minutes. That was because Iman Shumpert rested. So if Iman Shumpert back, I think Bogdanovich will come off the bench again and kind of see 25 to 30 minutes. He definitely still does have upside at this price. I think I'd prefer the Buddy Hield a little bit just because his minutes would probably be a little more secure. You got SGA at 4.9. He's basically going to be capped at 30 minutes, but the matchups here is very, very good. So I don't mind taking a shot at SGA. Pat Beverly and Avery Bradley are basically unplayable for me. Pat Beverly just not seeing the minutes, and Avery Bradley is he's just terrible. I don't know why he's getting these minutes. I really think Doc should just play SGA, Lou Williams way more, but for some reason he wants to get Beverly and Avery Bradley those minutes. Shumpert, it says he's questionable. He was just rested, so I do fully expect him to be back. At 3.6K, this is a pretty cheap salary for him. If he's going to start and play his normal minutes, I think Shumpert is definitely in play here. Definitely got to consider him today. And then you got Boban at 3.5. We saw what he did in 19 minutes against Phoenix. He put up a double-double, 29 fantasy points. If Gortat's out again and Boban starts, I think you got to play Boban. There's no way I can fade him, especially at 3.5K. If he was at 4.5K, then I could consider fading. But 3.5K, if he's going to start, I'm playing Boban. There's just no way around that. And then you got Harry Giles. So he had that huge game against Utah. That game was a blowout. So, I don't think I can go there today. I think he's going to see, 10, maybe 15 minutes. Obviously, he does have upside, but I don't know. If you want to take a shot, if you're making a lot of lineups, I definitely think you can take a shot one of those lineups with Harry Giles, but I'm just a one lineup guy, so I don't think I can go Harry Giles today. Okay, again, since this is only a 3-game slate, I'm not going to really give my core. Again, I'm just keeping it light, only GPPs for me. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, I think I'm leaning towards just fading Golden State Toronto and targeting the last 2 games. I really do think Toronto has a shot of blowing out Golden State. But again, if you want to target that game, Ibaka is very appealing. Same with Kawhi Leonard. I think those guys would be the most popular, and then Durant on the other side. I think he'll be somewhat popular. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, please like this video, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section down below. It's also important to follow me on Twitter. That will be in the description below. And I think we've got a pretty big slate here tomorrow for Friday, so I will be back then. So I'll see you guys then.